All right, here we go. It's 6 a.m. on the East Coast. It is Thursday, October 31st, Halloween. And this is Fox and Friends. Trump takes out the trash anyways.
It's just trying to scare you.
Well, it did. It really terrified me. Riding shotgun to a Wisconsin rally in a garbage truck, sharing this message to supporters after Biden called them garbage.
250 million Americans are not garbage.
Riding in a garbage truck. Plus, Pete Hegseth is having breakfast with friends in Battleground, Michigan. Has a big crowd there, where Trump and Harris are in a dead heat, neck and neck there.
That's right. We're going to hear from Pete in a bit. And a spooky scene this Halloween as Joe Biden appears to bite 4 children at a White House party.
I mean, it's truly incredible. No president like him. Fox and Friends starts right now, and remember, mornings are better with friends.
Chomp.
I'm just counting my fingers. Election is 5 days away, and former President Trump flips the script on Joe Biden's trash talk in every way after he called MAGA supporters garbage.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
This was a brilliant PR move.
It really was.
The cover of the New York Post this morning reads simply, Trump takes out the trash after Biden's voter slur.
The former president rolling into that big rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where he says his team convinced him to keep on that orange trash safety vest.
I said, no way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, oh, okay, sir. I said, get me my jacket. But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, and they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage.
Hats off to whatever PR person told him that, because he wore that through the entire Green Bay rally last night. And it was great because it brought home the message. And that is, anybody who looks at any of the images from yesterday, they're going to see him in that reflective safety vest. And then they're going to go, why is he doing that? Why is he doing the garbage thing? Oh, yeah, because Joe Biden called his supporters garbage. That is very effective for the Trump team.
So Yashar Ali, who's quite liberal, he said this for nearly 10 years later, and a certain progressives still don't get what makes Donald Trump appealing to people. This is some of the quotes they say. He's driving a garbage truck with his name on it. He's fake working at McDonald's. His garbage truck driver. The campaign is over. People love this stuff. They think it's hilarious, fun, and endearing. You don't have to like it. You can hate it and aggressively criticize it, but you don't think these things are examples of his failure to many people. So it's a campaign winning issue for the president.
It's a gift.
He's taking every single thing that they throw at him and reversing it. And I think Kamala Harris looks less relatable.
Well, you used to have, the Democrats were considered to support the unions, to be the blue collar worker. At least that's what Joe Biden ran on. But now we're seeing Donald Trump, and he's working in McDonald's. He's on the garbage truck. And when I turned on my TV and I saw the rally of him wearing this, I thought at first, dude, what is he wearing? And
is that a life vest?
Then I realized, and I just started laughing. Like, most people will laugh in their houses when they turn on their TV, or the Democrats will turn on their TV and say, oh, shoot. Yeah. He's using this to his advantage. Yeah. Why did Joe Biden say that?
Right. And that's what in the New York Times say Jim Manley, longtime Democratic strategist, says, I don't think these comments are going to hurt long term, but it's incredibly frustrating to watch as the Harris campaign has to spend precious time clarifying that what the president was trying to say. Mm-hmm. We are past the need to be concerned about President Biden's feelings. After all, he dealt her a pretty bad hand when he finally agreed to drop out with months to go. If the Harris campaign feels the need to distance themselves, they should feel free to do so. The problem is he did something 2 weeks ago politically when he says, I want to lock up Trump, politically lock him up. Well, that was the accusation with lawfare, that your Department of Justice was put on a mission from you to lock him up and stop him from running. It backed up your fears. We all think that you have very little respect for the MAGA movement. And then Trump would break down the acronym and says, "Make America Great Again." What are you trying to say? She started this. He started this 2 years ago with his political geniuses. And I'm saying to myself, wait, do you understand? You're putting down the movement, which had 74 million people vote there. And this is what I think, my humble opinion is, this will do. For those people that support Trump that might have thought, I'm going to stay home, a little exhausted by the whole process, now it's about you. Now it's personal. This will fire him up. And when this election last time around was decided by 45,000 votes in 6 battleground states, you know that he's more popular now. Every 1,000 counts. And they look at this and say, now now Biden and the Democrats are talking about me.
This is the former president at that rally.
250 million Americans are not garbage. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, crooked Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. No way. No way. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. And by the way, I want to thank all of our incredible sanitation workers all across America. Because they work hard, they really do work hard. And they do an incredible job, and they don't get the credit they deserve, like our police, like our firefighters, like so many others.
The only thing that they have against the former president right now, because when it comes to the issues, he dominates on the issue. The only thing they have is sometimes his comments push people away. But when they make comments like this, they even the playing field on that one issue. So people say, well, maybe he's not so bad with his comments. If they're going to demonize, remember, he was already president once. That means there are a lot of people in the country that thought he was the best candidate. He didn't win the second time, but now you're inviting those people, putting them right back in his arms when you say comments like this.
Well, you know, Lawrence, to that point, they both, this all started with the comics comments a couple of days ago. The question is, who took advantage of it? Who did it better? Ultimately, Donald Trump did it better because he was able to visualize it like this. With Joe Biden, I know they have him holed up at the White House, but somebody needs to take away his Zoom password because he screwed it up for her in a profound way. And when you look at the polls, and we've been talking about the polls for the last couple of weeks, they are so close to each other. They're within the margin of error. I would not be surprised, given the fact that how effectively Donald Trump and his team have been able to cash in on the garbage comment and do all that stuff we saw yesterday. If Donald Trump wins, given the fact that it's so close, I wouldn't be surprised after the election people go, you know what? You know what the October surprise was? It was Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden screwed it up because Donald Trump is, in addition to a billionaire developer, a TV star. In the final days, it's all about TV. He does it better.
I want to know who on Donald Trump's team heard that comment and came up with this and said,
garbage truck.
I was thinking maybe it's Don Jr. or maybe someone else on the team just saying, Dad, you need to get.
It was him.
Okay, Jason Miller, you need to get a garbage truck. We're going to deck it out with Trump signs.
No,
and American
Jason Miller
flags.
said Trump came up with this. That's what he said.
The
I don't know if he's just saying that, but he said Trump came up with it.
I believe it. He's a producer.
It's genius.
And
what he
Steve,
does.
to your point, is that Joe Biden's not having a bad day. He's having a bad career. He called himself a gaffe machine. Yeah. And we have montages. So it's not like, wow, he lost it at the end. No, he lost it at the beginning.
Yeah.
But so that's who
Picturing like a machine with his face on it, you push the button,
he called it.
and there's a gap.
Yes.
But remember, keep in mind, Joe Biden is good at being marginalized because when he was vice president for Barack Obama, for the most part, he was kept in the basement. Now they're trying to keep him in the basement so he just shuts up. Unfortunately, he's president.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.